The 80s, as far as I'm concerned, were the last of the great container industry ships for us, the crew. Into the 90s, I think it just kind of died out. They reduced the crews, took away the engine room watchstanders, and kind of sucked. But we still had our fun during the 80s. I'm the Saipan Sailor, folks. Stick around. I got a few more stories to tell. We pull into Hong Kong once a trip. And there, they would hire a gang of coolies to come on board and clean the air boxes on the main engine. Which was fine with us because that was nasty work. These guys, there'd be about, I don't know, 10, 12 of them. When they were ready to work, they stripped down to nothing but a loincloth. Now, I wouldn't even leave my room without some protective gear, at least a pair of boots, okay, pants and a t-shirt. But these guys had absolutely nothing else. And the first time I watched these guys and I wondered, how the heck did they do it? That engine is hot. And, you know, they can get burned, they can get cut, bruised, whatever. I mean, that's just, I couldn't fathom what their secret was, really, until the next trip. Their secret was heroin. They were injecting heroin back in the shaft alley, and then they would get to work. They felt no pain. Now, I discovered this when I seen a few of them back there fixing their dope. One trip, chief engineer said to me, he says, we need somebody to go down in the bilge well in the shaft alley and clean it out. And I said, well, you know, he said, you seem to know what to do. I said, why me? Well, I said, all right. So I got on a pair of gloves, pulled the cover of the bilge well. The bilge well is where water and oil would collect on the very bottom in the engine room. It's called the bilge. And then there would be a suction line in there running to a pump, the bilge pump, where we could pump out the bilges if the well got too high. Well, this well was filled. It wasn't filled necessarily. It was probably be about 2 feet by 1 feet by, I don't know, maybe 3 feet. A little well. But it had about 20 or 30 syringes in it. And I had to pick these things out one by one. So I got a little cardboard box, brought it down there, bent down, and very carefully grabbed them all, one by one, and put them in a box. Now those ships were also equipped with an incinerator where they burned trash that was burnable, paper, products, you know. But that incinerator was in a room which was between the engine room and the main deck passageway. And there was a door opening to the engine room and a door opening to the passageway. Now, there was a simple rule that anybody using this had to follow, okay? And that was close both those doors to the engine room and the passageway before you open the incinerator door. Well, it was only a matter of time before somebody didn't listen. And they had both doors open to the passageway and the engine room. All that air flowing through there. And he opened the incinerator door while there was a flame going on inside there. All that air got sucked in and there was a big flash. And he freaked out and ran out of the room. And within probably 30 seconds, the passageway was on fire because there was all that trash out in the passageway waiting to get burned. Well, I was down below at the time, and the chief engineer was up there. He had an extinguisher. He put the fire out. He happened to be in the vicinity. But another stroke of fate, you know, it could have ruined our day as well. Certainly ruined that guy's day. You know, that was supposed to be paying attention when he was giving instructions. They sent him home too. That was Hong Kong. Now, I had the 8 to 12 watch. So we would pull into Hong Kong on my watch at nighttime, and I'd go ashore and hit the clubs. Come back, sleep for a few hours, stand my watch in the morning, and then go ashore again and do a little shopping. What I would do is I would go to this, it was at the basement of the Hilton Hotel, and it was these guys from Pakistan. They were tailors, clothiers, and I would have me fit me out for suits. And the suits, the suits that I had custom made were raw silk with a matching button-down collar shirt, wash and wear silk. And I mean, these were wild colors. They were 3/4 length, no pleat in the back, wide lapels, bell-bottom slacks. It had my name embroidered. It had silk on the lining. My name was embroidered in a pocket. Alligator shoes. Oh yeah. I mean, I had one suit made out of sable mink, cashmere tweed, black with pinstripes, multicolored pinstripes. Beautiful clothes. And then we would leave that night on my watch. So I got ashore twice in Hong Kong. Back in those days, before the British gave the colony back to the Chinese, I mean, you can buy anything there. I went ashore once with a chief engineer, and for his and his wife's anniversary, I went with him to a jewelry store, and he negotiated for this beautiful champagne pearl necklace, the whole necklace was all pearls. It was a gorgeous piece, and he got the guy down to $1,000 for it. Now I don't know if that was a good deal or not, but I tell you what, those pearls look really nice. And I put together a stereo system that kills. In Japan, there was a vendor that could get just about anything there, any electronics, and he would get us beer. The electronics, I spent, out of the 10 trips, I put together actually 2 systems. I had 2 cassette decks made by Nakamichi. And back then, Nakamichi was like the creme de la creme of Japanese sound. In fact, a friend of mine on that ship had bought a turntable, a phonograph turntable. This turntable came completely disassembled. It had 2 tone arms. It had a gold plate, and the friggin' box was like 3 feet by 3 feet. and like 1 foot thick. And this thing was so heavy, the vendor just left it on the pier at the bottom of the gangway. And for some reason, they weren't using the stores crane that day. So this guy came and got me out of bed, and he says, "You got to help me carry this thing on board." And it took two of us to get it up to his room. That was in 1983, and he paid $2,500 for that thing. I can't imagine what it would cost today. And we would order beer. The first stop in Yokohama, we'd put our order in. And then on the last stop, before we headed back across the pond to California, he would bring the beer on board. Now this is funny how they did it, because the store's crane and the store's basket was aft at the back end of the house. And they could lift it up. Along the back end of the house, there were stairs going all the way up, and there'd be a catwalk there. So each level you can access the stairs from outside. And that's where they would raise the store's basket. When the beer came, there must have been 100 cases of beer, 150 cases. I mean, that basket was full. They would lift it up to the first level where the steward department was, and they would get their beer out of it. Then they would raise it up to the next level, which was our level. We'd get our beer out. Then on to the next level, which was the deck department. And then all the way up to the captain's level. And everybody got their beer that way. Hilarious. They sold Asahi and Kirin, I remember very well. You were actually able to get beer ashore there out of a vending machine. I did that once. Right on the street. Amazing. And that's Japan. Kobe, Japan was really a fascinating city. Half of it was underground. I mean, nothing but shopping. You wouldn't believe, well, you probably would, but I mean, it was just unbelievable. Like I said, those days were the end, pretty much, containerization as far as I'm concerned, as far as having fun. I mean, I was out there to have fun, let's face it. As a watch stander, it was fun, especially when everybody left you alone and you got ashore all the time. I think one of the oldest container ship companies started out as the Alaska Mail Company, I believe, in like the 1880s, 1870s maybe. And they became the Dollar Shipping Lines, and then it became American President Lines. And they were a huge company. And another company that was very notable was Matson. They ran to Hawaii all the time, and everybody wanted to work for Matson. Well, those two companies and a number of other ones, like Brothers and you name it, back in the day, were contracted with several unions. I sailed with Matson once, and I worked for APL a few times as well. I don't know today if it's worth it. Like I said, if you're young, you want to go out there and make money, learn refrigeration, work on those boxes, and you'll have a heck of a career. I'm trying to think of more stories. You know, I'm really old. I might come up with some more, but I wanted to tell you those couple of things. And I think that pretty much is going to end this segment. So, folks, clear skies and calm seas, huh? I'm the Saipan Sailor, and this was segment 4, or episode 4 rather, of A Career in a Can.